In today's video, I'm going to walk you through the steps needed in order to create a bow from start to finish. For your yarn, you're going to want to choose a DK or Aran weight yarn. I like to use this Rowan Alpaca Classic for my bows, and I will link this specific yarn in my description. But any yarn will do. You can use wool, acrylic, cotton. It's really up to you. You will also need a pair of US size 8 knitting needles, which is 5 millimeters, and you can use straight or circular needles. Creating this bow is pretty simple. We are just going to be doing some increases in the beginning to create the tapered end, and then we're going to be working in plain garter stitch for the body of the bow, and then at the end we're going to be doing decreases to make our second tapered end. And for the increases and decreases, I will have the written pattern for both of those parts in the description so that you can follow along when it comes time to work your increases and decreases. So the first step is to cast on 2 stitches. How we're going to do this is just by making a slip knot and then casting on 1 more stitch, or you could cast on 2 stitches however you prefer. Some people prefer to do the long tail cast on method, whatever is easiest for you, but just get those 2 stitches on your needle. Now once you have your 2 stitches casted on, we are going to begin to make the tapered end of our bow, and so we're going to start by knitting 4 rows. So now that we've knit 4 rows, we are going to do our first increase row, and our increase row says to KFB into both stitches, and KFB stands for knit front back. So we're going to be knitting through the front and the back of our stitches. So we're going to insert our needle like normal and wrap our yarn around. Instead of taking our stitch off, we're going to wrap our needle to the back and then insert it 1 more time through the back loop. Then we're going to wrap our yarn around and then act as if we're knitting again and pull it off. And now you'll see you have 2 stitches on your right needle, so we just added 1. So we're going to do that 1 more time. And you're going to insert your needle into the loop like normal, and then wrap your yarn around as if you were knitting, but instead of pulling it off, we're going to wrap our needle to the back, insert it through the back loop of that stitch, and then wrap our yarn around kind of like as if we're knitting again, and then just pull it through and off. So now we have 4 stitches on our needle, and we started with 2, so we made 2 increases. So essentially what we're going to be doing is increasing our stitches at the very edge every 4 rows, and it's going to create that tapered end of our bow so that we're like continually increasing, and you'll get the hang of it, but we're just going to keep repeating that. So next we're going to knit 4 more rows, and then I will meet you back when it's time to increase again. Okay, so we just knit 4 rows and now we are going to increase again, and we're going to knit into the front and the back of the first stitch, and then we will knit all of the stitches that are in the middle like normal, and then on the very last stitch we're going to knit front and back one more time. Now we're at the last stitch and we're going to knit front back, and now we've just completed another increase row, which took us from 4 to 6 stitches. So now it's time to knit 4 rows again, and we're basically just going to keep repeating this pattern of knitting 4 rows and then doing an increase row until we have 12 stitches on our needle. So I'm going to keep doing this pattern until I have 12 stitches on my needle, and if you're having trouble with the increase part, you can go back to the beginning where I did it a little bit more slowly and practice until you get the hang of it. Just remember that when we're doing the increase rows, we are only increasing on the very edge stitches, so the first and the last stitches of that row. And then we're knitting the stitches in the middle like normal with no increases, so just keep that in mind. So now that we have 12 stitches on our needle, it is time for the super simple part, which is just to continue knitting in plain garter stitch, which is knitting every stitch until our work measures 25 inches, and then we will start decreasing for the tapered end of our bow. And if you want to knit for longer than 25 inches, you totally can. If you want to make a longer bow, that works too. Just do whatever you're feeling. So I am going to keep knitting in plain garter stitch until my bow measures 25 inches, and then we will start doing our decreases and we'll almost be finished. So now it is time for our decreases, and I would say that decreases are a little bit simpler than increases. So we're just going to be decreasing at the edge of our row and knitting 4 rows in between, just like how we were doing the increases. So to begin, we're going to knit our first 2 stitches together, and then we will knit until we have 2 stitches left, and then we will knit these 2 together. After that, we will knit 4 rows, and then it will be time to decrease again. So I just finished the 4th row. Now it's time to decrease again, and I'm just going to go over it one more time, but we're just going to knit the first 2 stitches together, and then we're also going to knit the last 2 stitches together. And that's it. So we're just going to keep repeating this until we have 2 stitches left on our needle. Okay, we are getting to the end, so we've got 4 stitches left and it's our decrease row, so I'm going to knit the first 2 stitches together and then the next 2 stitches together since there's only 4. Now that I have 2 stitches left on my needle, I'm going to knit 4 more rows, and this will be the last time I do this. So now that we've knit our 4th row, we've got 2 stitches left, and we're simply going to pull the 2nd stitch over the 1st stitch, basically binding it off. And then we will pull our needle out, trim our yarn, and just slip our yarn through that little hole and tie it off. Make sure it's secure, and you're done with your bow. All we have left is just to weave in our ends, and then I'll show you how to tie the bow around a hair tie, and it'll be ready for wear. In order to get the hair tie onto the bow, you're going to want to slip the hair tie into the center of the bow, and then we're just going to tie a bow like we would tie our shoelaces, and it's as simple as that. You could also just tie the bow without the hair tie and then attach maybe a bobby pin to the back of your bow if you wanted it to clip into your hair instead of being tied. I hope this tutorial was clear for you guys, and if you have any questions, please let me know. I am happy to help, and if you end up making this, I would love to see, so please send me pictures if you feel like it. But I hope you have a fun time working on this project, and I will see you in my next video.